Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's Wednesday. We got a lot going on today. We got We the People tonight returning with interview with Stephen Jaffe. He's going for Congressional District 12, Nancy Pelosi's area. And I, right now, am sleep broadcasting. I'm going to call it that. I've been up since 3 a.m., and Markus has been listening to me bitch and whine like a little boy. Yeah, you're on, Markus. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Markus. How you doing today?
I'm good, John, and I think a little bit better than you are doing, but I hope when you find a little bit of sleep between the shows, everything will be all right again. And to my American friends, good morning, America.
Thank you. Yeah, good morning, Markus. I hope so, too, because this is, of course, on the day when I got the big interview going on, We the People start, and I'm half asleep. I'm feeling old today, everybody. Feeling an old 47. That's what it is. Wow, got a lot of people here. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. That cover picture, we'll talk about that in a minute. Say good morning. But Dennis, is it Denise or Denise? You've been talking to this guy, Markus, another German, right?
Yeah, he's another German. We had a long talk yesterday after the show, and yes, it was surprising how similar we are thinking on politics and things which concern us here in Germany as well. And and I think he's a good addition to our chat, to our show, and and maybe if he likes, once we will see him here in the show.
That'd be great. Love to bring you on and have you talk about your perspective of what's going on with Turkey. Markus and I were talking about that earlier, and why some Germans would have voted one way or the other, and it's all foreign stuff over there because the Germans, their democracy's doing all right, and they can think about other things. Americans don't have any capacity right now to be focusing on Turkey. It's irrelevant. We have our own issues, but love to have the Germans on to talk about it. See what other countries get to discuss once their country's doing okay. It's amazing. Anyway, good morning, everybody. A lot of people, John Warren and Jason H. and Barbara and Katie and Louise and James and Jupiter and Kendra. And thank you so much, everybody, for your love. Appreciate that. I love you all, too. And who else is in here? Jilly Love, hello, you. And Brandio Roberts. Who else is in here? Wow, we got a lot of people. Denise, as we talked about, Lisa and Stock Post. Hey, Stock, we still got to talk about your website and that and understand what's going on, right? And yeah, so let's do that. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Tomorrow we're going to have Crystal Hosmer on. She's going to give us an update. Is tomorrow Thursday? Yes. Tomorrow we're going to have Crystal Hosmer on. She's going to talk about the breakthrough in Nevada with net metering. They've reached a compromise, which means solar, baby, rooftop solar, net metering, the return of actual power that Nevada should be using anyway, which is really cool. The businesses were on the side of it too at this point because they see where the money is. So we'll have Crystal update us on that tomorrow. Who else is here? Jupiter, Metalhead, how you doing? Ellis Ray, solar eclipse coming our way, 8/21. That'll be badass. I wonder if I can get my telescope to. We'll have to figure out how to use a telescope. I just haven't had time to do anything. Haven't had time to do anything. It's a really cool telescope. Yes, and we are seeing Jaffe. And Melissa H. says Jimmy D interviewed Jaffe, and it was great. That's awesome. I'm glad that all the independents are starting to do these interviews. That's exactly what we need to do, is be the interview pool like mainstream media is. They're going to have Nancy Pelosi on all the time, and they're going to do their best to probably push a negative narrative against anything that's not establishment Democrat on MSM, because that's where their paycheck comes from. They money for each other, and so it's up to us, Jimmy Dore, us, TYT, Benjamin Dixon show. He's been on The Way with Noah. Whoever the hell in independent media that can interview all of the candidates that we want to promote, that we find progressive. That's what we do. That's how we fight the battle, right? The biggest question I have for all of these candidates that we can't help them with, honestly, other than, well, we can't. Directly as a media channel, we can't help them with. How? So I don't think any of these candidates that we push on the internet are going to have any problem reaching the audience that's available on the internet and winning over the audience that's available on the internet. But that is not the audience that any of them really have to win. And that's the problem, right? Is that in order for them to actually defeat somebody like Nancy Pelosi, they need airtime or MSM interview time or ad time, right? This is what it comes down to. We don't reach that demographic anywhere on the net, really. Not in an effective manner. So that's going to be my big question. And I'm looking forward to talking with Stephen, maybe Adriel after that. Adriel's person working with him. I don't know if he's the campaign manager or the media manager. Hey, Adriel, if you're watching, I don't know your official title. Well, we'll talk to him as well. Because they're working the internet. They're really good with what they're doing on the internet. I want to know how they're going to tackle the other piece of that. Anyway, geez, I'm doing a lot of freaking talking. Hey, Jeffrey Pearson, how you doing? James Hancock, yeah, good to see you guys. Chronic, how are you? If OG shows up, I see that you are in Albany, which is really cool. That's great. All right. Hey, Snyder fam, how you doing? Mohammed, good to see you. Okay, the cover card is that's a really cool picture, actually. But what it is a coal plant, one of 10, that is going to be shut down, or has been shut down. Actually, they've shut down temporarily, and then they're going to shut them down all the way, in South Korea. The new president of South Korea acknowledged that his people are dying because they can't breathe, because of coal plants, because Obama and probably every era before him sold South Korea the idea that they should be using clean coal or coal because it's cheap and the United States can deliver it. I mean, this is really part of our legacy of promoting fossil fuels around the world. It's a very well-known statement that the U.S. has been in favor of promoting our old energy sources, the ones we make the most money at, for third world countries because it's cheap. So the new president, I guess his last name is Moon. This is an article in Quartz. That picture was by a Russian name photographer, the name I can't pronounce. Let me see what that was. It's Pawel. Yep, Pawel with a K. And this picture, yeah, on his 5th day in power, South Korea's new president shut down 10 big coal power plants. What did Trump do on his 5th day? Urinate, belch, tweet, and then take away the rights of something. You know, he did something. You know, whatever he did on his 5th day was bad. This guy, 5th day. You know, smart. What do you think about that?
I think Trump was still on his 5th day. He was still bitching about how many people attended his inauguration. If I remember right.
He was still comparing dick sizes there with inauguration. Hey, Katie.
Yes.
How are you?
What a difference.
Oh, you forgot me? What? Katie, I forgot you? You did? Whoops. Did I forget something? If I forgot something, Katie, then my bad. You were supposed to come on. I don't remember. I think you were. Too much going on, everybody. Hey, Eco. How are you? Patricia, how are you doing? Good to see you. Oakland. Ron, how are you? You can't bring back endangered species. Good point. But at least they're shutting things down, right? Now they need to talk to the Germans and convert all of those into electric batteries, right? Into water batteries, like Germany did. Store the sun's energy, do stuff like that. That's what you do. Yeah. Maybe all the other nations in the world that have renewable energy can lease that energy to the United States of America while we frantically rebuild our grid in the next 10, 20 years because we really haven't been moving forward on the whole renewable things. Maybe that's what it'll be. I don't know. I'm glad you're good. They can't figure out how to make a war on solar. We need to. We really need to. That would be cool. All right. I'm running off track here. So Stephen Jaffe, tonight, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. All right. So that's 10:30 on the East Coast. Sorry, you guys got to stay up late. And we just booked for next Wednesday. We're going to talk to Sam Ronan. I don't have the card loaded, but Sam was one of the guys trying to get the DNC chair. He put in a good run. He even got some MSM airtime, and we covered it a little bit when that was happening, but my basic statement then was he doesn't have a chance in hell. Good for him for running. I understand what he's saying, but I don't think it's going to happen. Sam's created a new group, all right, called, I don't know where it is. It's called Our Voice, right? And the point of it is unification, really. It's kind of to be a central hub for contact and information, resources. I think that's the point. We're going to have Sam on not only to talk about that, but he's also just announced that he's running for Ohio 1st District. So that ought to be really cool to have him on. And then I think, I don't know if it's the week after, I think the 7th, we've booked Misty Snow, who's running in Utah. So if you guys can reach out, just to explain where we're at with these shows, We the People is going to run. It's going to run like a 45-minute show. We'll overflow to an hour if needed, if the discussion's going good. We want to keep it around 40 minutes or so, and it's an interview show for candidates only. All right, I want to keep it for candidates only. I'm not interested in really talking to anybody on that particular show who's, got something else going on. Right? Markus is nodding. Yeah.
Very, very good idea. Yes.
Thank you. And then, if somebody wants to come on and talk about their whatever they've got, their volunteer organization, whatever, come on in a wake. And or if you really don't want to do that, we can do a special thing. That's fine. But We the People, I just want to keep to candidates. That's what it was really meant for. There are special exceptions, right? We had Portia Bolger on. She was like the second We the People, and it was because she's such a badass who's been around for so long, right? And we also will interview sitting public servants, all right? So if they're already in office and they're willing to come on the show and talk to us, hey, Janine Calkin, I'm going to reach out to you eventually. That's what the show's for, and we'll keep it F-bomb free, and we'll keep it, viewable by all ages, and just a good interview time for the candidates. That's what it's for. Whether you need it for practice, or we can chop it up for segments, or you just want to come on to be nice. Great, right? Sound good, Markus? Yes,
I'm on it.
Excellent. Welcome. Who's here? Steve. Hey, Steve Collins. How you doing? Judy Meyer. In-N-Out's one of my favorite food places. I like In-N-Out. I'll be honest. You haven't had In-N-Out burger, Markus. You do not know what you're missing. It's an amazing thing.
No. I don't know them.
Yeah, they're awesome. All right, so news. By the way, if you want to ask Stephen Jaffe a question, there's a link in the description. Go. Plug it in on a form. Ask Stephen Jaffe a question. We will be tracking on Twitter the hashtag We the People. So if you push a question there, we'll try to get that answered. But your best bet is to put it on the form, which is linked in the description of this YouTube event, which is Ask Stephen Jaffe a Question. And the link goes to a Google form. Fill out your question. I think we give you 500 character max. Don't make it a long essay. Just ask a question. And we do have a lot of good questions already. Actually, I know I have more questions than going to fill 40 minutes. So we're good. But if somebody comes through with a question, I'm like, ooh, that's a really good one. Then great, because we're not asking them all. I'm doing okay, sorta, mostly. We'll do that. And thank you for asking, Steve Collins. Moving into the news, Yes, Chelsea Manning has been released after 7 years, which is insane. And thank gosh, because that's Obama-era stuff, regardless of what we think of him. Trump administration, I'm surprised they didn't stop it. Surprised they didn't just kill her. You know? So that's awesome. That's courage. That takes some serious big courage to do that, to know that you're gonna be prosecuted, know that you're gonna go to prison, know that you face all sorts of shit, but know that it's the right thing to do. Think about it. Every Morton County sheriff that also had that choice to make, a hell of a lot easier one. All they had to do was say no. Right? They couldn't make that choice. Then you have a hero, somebody like Chelsea Manning, who's like, against all the odds, against this entire military-industrial complex, yeah, I'll make that choice. Right? Very different profiles in courage and what I would consider to be a hero. We're going to watch this Fusion clip right now because I don't know that this was the point of their statement on this, that a lot of people even remember what information Chelsea Manning leaked that was so critical. So we're going to watch this and learn after I turn off Slacker radio, which is always running in the background. All right, here we go.
Come on, fire.
Do you want to know how the United States treats whistleblowers who risk it all to expose major abuses of power? Well, look no further than Chelsea Manning. Manning was sentenced to 35 years in prison for leaking a series of classified government documents to WikiLeaks. Before leaving office, President Obama commuted the sentence and she will be released in May. That means she will have spent a total of 7 years in prison, where the UN said she was subjected to cruel, inhumane, and degrading treatment. It's been a while since anyone talked about the actual contents of the leaks, so here's a little refresher. Manning's revelations uncovered war crimes, torture, and corruption from some of the world's most powerful entities. The leaks included a video that showed how a U.S. Army Apache helicopter indiscriminately gunned down a group of men in Iraq. At the time, the U.S. government claimed they were armed insurgents, but the video clearly shows that they were non-threatening, and 2 of the victims turned out to be Reuters journalists. The leaks also reveal that the U.S. knew about widespread torture of prisoners at the hands of the Iraqi security forces, but chose to ignore it. They detail some grisly scenes, including one where Iraqi army officers allegedly cut off a detainee's fingers and burned him with acid. Instead of taking steps to stop it, U.S. officials issued an order known as Frago 242, which prevented investigations into Iraqi government torture. As The Guardian put it, it was a license to torture. Manning also exposed how the U.S. government uses its power to coerce other governments. For example, the German government arrested 2 CIA agents who mistakenly kidnapped an innocent German citizen and shipped them off to be tortured. The leaks show how the U.S. leaned on the German government and managed to get them to drop the arrest warrants. But the government doesn't just use its power to cover up our own war crimes. Corporations rely on our State Department to keep the wages of poor countries low. The most glaring example is in Haiti, where leaked cables show how the U.S. Embassy in Port-au-Prince pressured the Haitian president to block a minimum wage increase from 24 cents an hour to 61 cents an hour. This was at the behest of contractors for companies like Hanes and Levi Strauss, who employ poor Haitians to sew their clothes. In 2010, Hanes had 3,200 Haitians sewing clothes for them. A $2 a day increase in the minimum wage would have cost the company about $1.6 million a year. That same year, Hanes' profits totaled $211 million, and their CEO's salary package was $10 million. Haiti, by the way, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, so it's not like they need the extra 37 cents an hour. And these are just some of the revelations in the records that Manning leaked, but there are many, many more. And even though the government's own investigation found no instances of anyone being killed as a result of the leaks, Chelsea Manning was given a harsh sentence of 35 years, and she is incarcerated at a men's military prison even though she's a transgender woman. In September, she went on a hunger strike to fight for her treatment for her gender dysphoria, and twice tried to commit suicide while she was in solitary confinement, for which she was also punished. Now, thankfully, she's going to be released in May. And it's just a shame that someone as brave as Chelsea Manning wasn't around to expose the lies that led to the Iraq War in the first place. But given the abuse she faced for doing the right thing, would you blame any potential whistleblowers for staying quiet next time?
That's pretty incredible. That's 7 years ago. Plus, right? Have we fixed any of those issues? No. Not a one.
And not only you, John. The same is for Germany. And it was mentioned in this short clip that two CIA agents kidnapped a German citizen.
Yeah.
This German citizen was Murat Kurnas, and he was confused with someone else, and he was taken to a black site and later to Guantanamo, where he was tortured. And it was found out that he was the wrong person, and the USA offered Germany to bring back Murat Kurnas, and our new state president, Mr. Steinmeier, didn't accept, and he said, no, we don't want him back. You have to keep them or do anything with him what you want. He has no right, or he cannot come back to Germany. And this is why I cannot accept him as my state president, because he left his citizen alone.
You talked about this before. I remember this.
Yes,
you had mentioned
did.
this before, and now I have different context in it. And it was the U.S. that fucked this up in the first place.
Yes.
Fucking United States of America. I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what to say. I forgot. That's just ridiculous. I forgot to mention this. Okay, so I want to show you the card. We're Chelsea Manning released the Real Patriot Hero, and you saw that they were only giving you highlights. That was a highlight reel of some of the information that we learned about the United States of America and the bullshit we pull. Nothing's changed, though. You didn't see the Democratic Party rear up and try to make any changes in that stuff, because that's all military-industrial complex, and they're all taking money from that. That's never going to change until we replace the people at the top, and that doesn't happen if you start at the top. That's what's annoying about all of this. I missed a couple things. Get out to vote for Rob Quist. May 20th, 21st, Bernie Sanders will be stumping out there. Hopefully we'll catch a stream or two of that, and there will be no DNC. This is not a DNC sponsored unity event as far as I'm concerned. There's no, or as far as I can tell, right? It's the people that talk about we don't want to reform the Democratic Party. Look at where it's at. It doesn't really exist anymore. What exists is an infrastructure that you can use. I'm sorry that all the letterhead's going to say Democratic Party for now, but it's really pretty empty and devoid of true leadership across the United States. So what are you complaining about? Use it. It's like finding to bring it to aliens, like finding an empty spaceship, and yeah, you got to clean the garbage out of it, but it's ready to go. And it has a terrible name and you don't like the color. Both of those things you can change later on. That's all I'm saying. That's basically what we're looking at. All right. Something I forgot to mention. John, where did I get the South Korea coal article? Quartz is where I got that. It's in the links. Yeah, you found it. I see. Oakland Ron, I don't identify as American either. I just am embarrassed because I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the American idiocy that needs to fix itself, right? Before I can care about Turkey. That's why. I want to get this out of the way. I meant to talk about this, so hopefully, Laura, live and good, when you watch this later on, because you will, because you're working right now. When you watch this later on, I want to mark this spot, and maybe we can send this out as an info message to all potential interviewees, partners, or whatnot. What Uphill Media and I am about, and this little volunteer crew. Right? I'm not here for ratings. We're not here to make a bunch of money. We're not here to compete with other indie networks in any way whatsoever. If anything, we're here to amplify the good work of other independent media networks. I'm not looking to make a career out of this. I am a volunteer, and everybody here is a volunteer, and I take donations at Patreon to help cover expenses of replacing gear and electric bill, internet, things like that. And our job here is, our goal here, not job, our goal here is just to amplify progressive values and inform the electorate, really. Have a conversation around it. So when I Well, when people are asking, should I be interviewed? Why would I be interviewed? That's my dog barking a lot right there. I got to find out why. When people want to know what we do, why, what are we looking for? What am I about? What are my values? Do I believe in dem enter, dem exit? I'm actually going to have to go find out what my dog is barking at. This is going to be fun. I'm not about any of those things. I'm about the planet, and I'm about survival, and I'm about having a conversation, and I'm about staying awake. That's what it is. So, honestly, guys, I'm gonna like pause the show in the middle. I'm gonna turn off the audio, and I'm gonna go see what the hell's going on because somebody's at my door or something. Be right back. Well, that was fun. So the revolution stops for barking dogs, milk, coffee, and other things. And that was just somebody at my door. But nobody thought to stop the dog from barking. That's just another reason why I'm not really here to do this for any kind of big purpose, because I will never be able to grow it to a professional point because I operate out of my garage. All right, so there's a whole nother reason. Thank you all for being here. I'm a little irritated about that. I need to get over it. New York single payer. I want to point this out because a lot of people continue to be frustrated with politics at the ground level and continue to talk about politics at the top level, which we really don't control at all. Here's an example of something that was started at the ground level, right? And has now moved through the House, their assembly, and is on the way to the Senate, and it's only 2 votes shy of passing in the Senate. They've got to replace one person. The person that is most likely to replace that person has already said they're going to support the bill, and they just need to work on one other person, and they think they have that. Basically, it's done. This is done. It took work. It took time. It took a lot of effort at the grassroots level. It took marching, protesting, going to town halls. It took Bernie speeches. It took Mayor Cuomo getting involved here. New York is going to be the first state to go to single payer and show us that it works. But it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen instantly. This has been going on for years, right? The movement finally made it occur, just like California in the fight for 15. So when we talk about, we can't accomplish anything, the DNC is so corrupt, they'll never let it happen. It's happening right now in a state, a big, huge state with lots of money, right? So this is an example of success, right? That's ground game success right there. That's whether you call that work, that's a Republican and Democratic success right there. That's not a one party or the other. That's everybody involved, right?
Yeah, and more Republicans are already are also agreeing to a single health care. I read, and yeah, it is not only Democrats or progressive or independents. More and more demand a single payer, and I think this is on a good way.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we needed to have happen. More and more cities move to $15 an hour and show that economically it's a no-brainer, and more people move to more. New York will be the first to go to single payer. We'll show that it works. They'll make it work. Is it going to have problems? Sure. Is it going to be bumpy? Sure. Are they going to have to make some changes? Sure. That's what happens. It shouldn't be put in place in concrete and then left to do what it does. The whole concept would be to make it better and better and better. So great on New York for getting started. And then all the other cities and states around the country can look at that model, right, and improve on it. Single payer going to pass in Cali? That would be great. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I wouldn't celebrate until that program is passed and is funded. Well, again, it's closer than it's ever been, right? I just want to spend one brief moment on the whole Trump, Comey, impeachment, all of that crap, all right? This is the latest, right? The latest news is that he reportedly asked Comey to consider imprisoning members of the press. And that doesn't surprise me at all, right? And they're subpoenaing the memo and blah, blah, blah. And now it looks like obstruction of justice. And they're throwing that around, that this is obstruction of justice, and that means impeachment. None of it means impeachment still, again, yet, all right, until somebody in the judiciary, Sessions, and Congress, GOP, care. Now, there's been a call for impeachment by a Democrat, no power. And there's been calls for, full investigations by GOP, means nothing. And there's been, rumbles by other GOPs about this looks bad. Other than that, nothing going to happen. Because on the other hand, we all know what would happen. I mean, this is something that I saw Benjamin Dixon post. Imagine what Pence could do in 100 days with a calm Oval Office. I don't know. The thing for us as progressives is, and wouldn't that benefit us even more? If Pence could come in and make it even worse, faster, without the distraction of tweets and SNL making fun of the tweets, right? For as much as I love Melissa McCarthy and her great spicy impersonation, it does nothing to help us save the fucking planet and fix our government. It distracts us from what really matters. So why not put Pence in? Why not put a serious psychopath who isn't going to be on Twitter because he's probably afraid of it, and see what happens? Why not? Why not? Let's just make it crash harder. That's my point of view. Other people, Benjamin Nixon's like, "Man, that's scary. Let's not do that." I'm like, why not? Why not? Marcus, thoughts?
I only want to add that I think it is important to have comedians like Melissa McCarthy or Alec Baldwin, because in these times you cannot feed politics 24 hours a day and make up your mind what to improve, what to do wrong or what to do right. You need to have this entertainment, and it is even more important to laugh about those so-called authorities, because in the end it doesn't mean nothing, and Trump proves it day by fucking day that he has nothing to offer, that he's just a bubble for himself,
Yeah, I listen. I'm glad SNL exists too. Makes me laugh in a time of war, and I know that we had the USO in time of war. That was important. We still went to movies, and we still had comedies. We still, the World War II stopped for coffee and milk as well, right? That's you look through history. We can't just spend 24/7 on the tragedy, but I think as a whole, Americans are way more entertained than they are scared. And that's really what I'm trying to get at there.
Oh, okay. I was referring to our group, to our progressive minded people who care, and not to the complete American citizens.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, the bulk of mainstream America is watching SNL, right? That's, ratings off the charts. They've got the best thing going on. They've got an administration that's easy to make fun of. And they've got great actors and actresses willing to impersonate. I mean, what more could you want? If you don't like the real thing, watch the fake thing.
What? Yeah. Where you are right, and where there is a real danger, in my opinion, is those mainstream viewers who look at SNL and look CNN, MSNBC, and all this stuff. They got distracted because they get served the mainstream media content, and they are only presenting the Democratic Party, or in comparison to Trump, the Democratic Party is the better solution because they are less worse, or they are better because Trump is so bad. And this is the only policy which they are selling right now, and maybe this might be enough if Trump will stay president, or Pence, or we have to wait until 2020. I think the Democrat top, the DNC, will think this is really enough.
Yes. Agreed. What are we talking about here? What's going on? Jilly Love? Judy? Serious conversation? We got SNL sucks. The Weekend Update is my favorite part of SNL. Something's going on with Judy here that I missed. Sorry. I've been watching chat. You know how it goes. They're having a good conversation, though. So which would you rather have, Marcus, Trump or Pence?
Good question. I don't know Pence that good as I'm afraid to know Trump right now. And yes, from the satire aspect, from the comedian aspect, I would stick to Trump. But on the other hand, this guy is so irrational, and I only hope that he keeps his fingers from the red buttons. And maybe only maybe Pence is more trustful what this concerns. I have no clue. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just looking at responses here. Trump. Judy had an expensive accident. I hope you're okay, Judy, and that sucks anytime that happens. Yeah, I didn't even have that listed to talk about, you guys. The Sanders-Kasich debate where they agreed that things were terrible, which, I mean, geez. So what does that show? Bernie hasn't really changed his message, and Kasich is not devoid of reality. Is that really all that shows? Sorry, this thing's driving me nuts here. When you can find a Republican and that can agree with a progressive on how bad things are in the Oval Office, things are bad. Doesn't mean it still doesn't mean Kasich really wants to do anything about it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I mean, they're all taking money somewhere. I'm glad you're fine, Judy. Good. It's not a choice of party. We're gonna get into that. We're getting into the ground game. Here's Sam Ronan's initiative, guys. This, not only is he running, but this is our voice, and this is what I was kind of asking for, uniting the many voices into one great boisterous voice, our voice. There are so many of us. We all have something we want to say. With each voice bouncing off one another, we are left feeling unheard. Bottom line, this is our initiative. Our voice is bringing movements and groups together to get on the same page and provide a common toolbox of strategy, policy, and organizing funding resources to new candidates who want to take on the establishment. Now, they're doing more than just being a funding funnel, all right? And we have lots of funding funnels that are happening right now. Our Revolution funding, and there's Revolution funding, and there's Brand New Congress, and there's Justice Democrats, and there's Wolfpack, and there's Represent.us. There's this, and there's a billion of them. And quite frankly, we don't need any more of them. The reason I'm interested about this one is because they're also trying to unify, or at least bring everybody together in some form of communicative hub to share resources, something that I called for Now, obviously, he called for it a while back because he's got a whole bunch of people working on it and other people connected and everything. We're going to talk about that. And Sam's running for office in Ohio. So that's really cool. This is what I like. This. You want to know what I'm about? I'm about this. How do we unify around the issues? I don't give a shit about Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green. How do we unify around the fact that we've got about 10 years to fix the planet or we die?
Amen.
Thank you, Marcus. It's the I don't want to die party. Or I don't want to departite.
No, it sounds absolutely reasonable, and I like this guy. I saw him. He was the guy who made for me the most reason to listen to at the DNC campaign for the DNC lead. You know.
Yeah. And then you didn't trigger me. Nobody triggered me. I was going into that anyway. I'm just talking about chili love. Trigger John. You like doing that, don't you?
Yes.
I try to get rid of all of my triggers in the morning. Just reading the news. Here's some good news on the ground game. Remember the explosion in a suburb of Firestone, Colorado, caused by a uncapped and they just left this thing, a gas line. Well, now all the neighbors are suing. Good for them. I hope they rake the shit out of whoever that is. And I don't even know who the name of the company is, the fossil fuel company. I hope they take them for millions and millions and millions of dollars. Can hurt them. That's the only place you can really hurt these guys. And it doesn't do anything for the 2 dead people whose house it blew up. You know the Dakota Access, we already talked about this, Dakota Access Pipeline leaking already. Just barely started moving fuels. They promised it was going to be safe, maintained. All that promising. Yeah, it's bullshit. Bullshit. You love me anyway. Thank you, Julie. Love you too. The 10 years and counting party. Yeah. Yes. 23 Democrats were elected in Lynn County special elections yesterday. Yeah, Holly, we're going to talk about that. Because the guy that I was worried about winning, who looked like he had the shiny resume, did not win. Yay. And the other guy that had the handwritten application that was the volunteer nurse, whatever, he won. We're gonna look at that. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's here. I was hey DJ. That's not the next thing. Why don't we look at that anyway? Because the next thing's really heavy, and I don't want to look at that yet. Here's the results, Holly. Election summary, May 16th, 2017 special election, Lynn County, Oregon. Let's zoom in on that. Exciting, breathtaking. What I really want you to see here are the numbers. Because in one way, this is really sad. In another way, this is really exciting. Actually, in a couple ways, it's really exciting. It's more exciting than it is sad, but there's some sadness here. Take a look at this. The overall registered voters, about 80,000 registered voters for this. Right? It says Lynn County, Oregon. Lynn County only. It's about 80,000 registered voters. 23% of those showed up or voted. You can vote by mail. It shows up in your mailbox. This one was a single page, not even front and back, just single page. There were 3 slots where you didn't even have anybody to fill in or select. So it was really half a page. And that's terrible. Here's what's even more interesting. Like, the person who won the Lynn Benton Lincoln ESD Director Zone 1, which I don't even know what the hell that means, Heather, got 3,100 votes. Write-in, which was, there was nobody in write-in, so the blank line got 44 votes. There were 44 people who wrote probably their name in for that. Because they probably didn't know anything about Heather, because you probably couldn't find anything about Heather anywhere. I couldn't. Roger Irvin won by 743 votes. The 743 people voted for it. That's what I'm saying here is in my town, I could run for something and potentially speak to everybody I needed to speak to during my campaign to win the vote directly. 743 people? Sure. Do you see how, and I don't even, again, whether I would want to run for these things or whether I qualify for some of these things, right? Like school zones and something, I don't know, right? But where's the one guy? Where's the guy I want to show you? Right here. Here it is. This is it. This is one of the most exciting things. So Mike Duncan, and I want you to look at the numbers of votes. This is Lynn Benton, Community College Director, Zone 67A. So that was the vote I was talking about, where this guy was going to have influence over the community college. And, I was worried about Randy Camp there, who got 46.88% of the vote, which was 135 votes. Okay? There were 4 write-ins. Mike Duncan was the guy with the handwritten no letter, just said he was a nurse volunteer and wanted to help the kids in school. He had really no ties to the natural gas industry, no ties to the Republican Party that I could find, and no ties to propane industry. And he wasn't climbing his way up he didn't, he had no history in politics either. Right? And it's a big thing. We're always talking, do you have any experience in politics? No. And every progressive day is like, thank God you're hired. Right? He won. Mike Duncan won. By what? 9 votes? No, 35, 14 votes. 15 votes. I can't even count today. Mike Duncan, 149. Randy Camp, 135. That's like shit. But you know how many people, the registered voters, the turnout is 25.73% because they only needed for that little small area or whatever, right? But that's an important thing. And it's exciting to see that the progressive, no history in politics, I am calling progressive just based off the little information that I have, right, won compared to the guy who obviously had a record in politics. That's like the big thing I'm showing. Overall, though, we can't even get 25% of the registered voters in Lynn County to actually turn in a ballot by mail. I got a lot of work to do, right? That's a lot of power. If I can increase that percentage, personally walk around, talk to people if I were running for something, increase that percentage by 5%, I could win whatever I want, really. The numbers are small. And that's why I'm saying the power is in the government that you are most directly connected to in your town, in your city. Right? You win by 10 votes, 12 votes, 10, 50, whatever it is. You win by, that's ridiculous.
This is crazy. You could literally go to your weed stores, to 3 or 4 bars, give a round to them and say, okay, vote for me, and invite them to vote for you, and you got the deal. Yeah.
I was. So here's the thing. My list, so by the way, Jilly, I'm working on that. I have a meeting. Tomorrow with the leadership of the Democratic Party in Lynn County, and we're going to be talking about technology, and they're very interested. I mean, they don't have anybody to help them with like the email situation and their website and stuff like that. They're really struggling. So I'm going to come in and do that. Once I've done that and understand a lot more about what's going on, I don't feel comfortable running for anything right now, and I don't need to, right? We just had this special election. By the time the next election comes up, which I'm guessing is 2018 for things in Lynn Benton County, maybe I'll be ready to run for something small. Maybe I will have needed to start already. I don't know. I don't know enough yet. All right. I need to talk to leadership and find out where I can best be useful. Simply climbing the ladder of politics to me doesn't seem like the best use. Let's get communications and technology set for my county, and then let's see where things need to go. But I don't have a problem being on a school board at all. Having spent 3 whole meetings now in my Democratic Party, I feel comfortable raising my hand to vote, questioning things, and calling people on the phone to talk to them. The next step is walking around And I've got like 300 people on my PCP list, right? That's my precinct 16. So I'm going to find out how long it takes me to talk or knock on all 300 of those doors, right? That's the next step. And once I find out how long it takes me to knock on 300, I can calculate what it would take me to knock on 1,000 or 30,000, right? And then, well, so anyway, that's, I plan on it. That's where I'm going to go. Anyway, John could get enough support to win in no time. I really appreciate that, Jeffrey. I don't know about that. I really worry about that. I'm in a very conservative. Lynn County is conservative, and they voted for Trump. Just
the F-bombs. The F-bombs would prevent your success, John.
Fuck you.
Exactly. Quod era demonstrando.
I don't even think I've said one yet today, have I? I think that's the first one.
No. But look, I know exactly your speech when you're standing there and you are getting into a rage, and I say, oh God. Me as your political manager, oh God, what is he doing?
Yeah, exactly. You can't say that many F-bombs. You're going to be my political manager from Germany? That would be great. That'd be great. I work with an international team.
You notice the offer, right?
I love that. Yeah, that sounds good. I will run for something when we figure out what it would be and if that's even the right thing for me to do. All right? That's when.
All right.
I'm not interested in making a career out of being a politician. I'm interested in saving the planet and living beyond the next 10 years. That's my platform. How's that for a positive platform? I want to be alive. It's the I Want to Be Alive platform. John Ellis for Congress 2018. That's literally I don't. And have a free joint, because I'd hand out joints. I'd say, come on by the farm, grab some weed. I want everybody to lower their testosterone levels. Have a joint, everyone. And the party is called More Than 10 Years Left of Life. That's what we want to be. That's what I stand for. That's my platform. Climate and no death. How does that work?
Perfect.
Where do I stand on Syria? No death. Where do I stand on Russia? No death. Where do I stand on whatever the fuck's going on with Turkey? No death. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. John Suds and Buds Tavern. Is that where is that around there? There's probably one near here. There's many. A municipal advisory committee would be good for John. All right, Jimmy. That sounds good. Catherine W. John dropping the F-bomb makes me run across the room to the computer to acknowledge the profanity. Regeneration platform. Nice. Dennis, you only live 95 kilometers away from Markus. That's like 120 miles or something.
We even didn't talk about it. I have no clue where Dennis lives. Oh. we started right with politics, when we talked.
Right. Apparently, you guys are like, it's only a word saying fuck, right? But what I read a story.
No. There was a piece, I think, on one of the new Jimmy Dore clips when there was a guest in a CNN show who just mentioned the word penis.
That's what I was referencing. I was referencing that from
Yes. And the moderator, she was giggling and she was feeling completely uncomfortable with the situation. I said, "Oh God, what the fuck? I'm sorry. What the heck?"
No, we're talking about a penis. Using the word fuck is appropriate.
Okay, then it's all right. Okay, then I stick to fuck.
But you could say what the fornicate, what the
all right,
what the making love, right? That was, I don't know if you remember that. That was the big deal back when I was a kid. You didn't call it sex and you didn't call it fucking. You called it making love. That made it okay.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and to had to write into poetry books, right?
Yes.
Do we have this too in America? All right, okay. Yeah.
Yes. John's bake and wake the fuck up. That's exactly what it is. I agree. Sorry, I had to put Markus on camera because I was fixing this goddamn thing again. Zappa would be proud. Nice. I always get where Katie is. Katie's from Ireland, but she lives in Dusseldorf?
Luxembourg.
God damn it. She lives in Luxembourg, France, right?
I live in Düsseldorf, John.
You live in Dusseldorf. I'm a dumb American. I don't know where shit is. There was actually a thing where most Americans don't even know where North Korea is. So
yeah, I read it, yeah.
Like, it's...
But don't think that most Germans would find it on the map.
No.
Don't expect this.
You have better education, so I do.
I bet my butt on it. The majority of Germans don't find North or South Korea on the map.
Well, you know where Turkey is, I bet.
I know.
All right. Moving on, everybody. I hear Arnold's accent when I think of Maria. That's terrible. He was such a dick to her. It's sad when we can look at somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger and go, wow, I guess I like that guy a little bit again because he hates Donald Trump and he cares about the environment, but he's still a douchebag. Don't forget that Schwarzenegger was a douchebag, right? A booby-grabbing, misogynist douchebag, penis first. Still is, even though he cares about the environment, in my view. Would that make it better if I followed the Bernie thing and just, in my view... fuck you. Because then at least I said in my view first. I don't know. That's what he always did. Anyway, moving on to more serious stuff. We talked about Chelsea Manning and the courage it takes to know you're going to be abused, you're going to go to prison, you may die, tried to commit suicide. I can't imagine being in solitary confinement for as long as she was and not succeeding at suicide. Oh my God. Yeah. With the little brief personal experience I had, having fucked my world for quite some time, I cannot imagine the psychological damage there. Talk about a mind of iron that would be able to withstand that. I couldn't. I'd go batshits. I'd probably end up tearing my own flesh out at some point. So that's the kind of amazingness that we're talking about here, right? This is where we're headed, really. We're already abusing journalists. We're already arresting them, putting them away for bullshit. And around the world, in other countries where the laws have already devolved or never really evolved, they just get shot. This is this is not new. Like, there's been at least once a month, there's some journalist or some activist somewhere been shot for reporting truth, speaking truth, talking truth. This is an award-winning Mexican journalist, Xavier Valdez, assassinated in Sinaloa, basically reported a long time on drug trafficking and organized crime. He wrote for the prominent newspaper La Jornada and was killed Monday after gunmen opened fire on his car in the city of Cuculcan. I can't pronounce it. Some city. Anyway, that's we're talking when we talk about journalist, somebody who puts their life on the line to uncover bullshit and present it, right? Like a Glenn Greenwald. This guy, that's journalism. Anderson Cooper isn't a journalist. Wolf Blitzer isn't a journalist. They don't put themselves in danger. Rachel Maddow isn't a journalist. She doesn't do any of this bullshit, right? There's the real deal. We don't have any real journalism occurring on mainstream media today. And the ones that we have are at risk of dying, right? Valdez has been reporting for decades. Yeah. And listen, I'm not telling. Most people know more about this stuff than I do. I'm a pretty ignorant guy when it comes to independent media, when it comes to world affairs, what's been going on really around the world. I just woke up with Bernie 2 years ago, right? So I'm wholly ignorant. I'm not ignorant on a lot of this stuff. 2 years ago, I didn't give a shit about The Intercept or any of the independent media, really, all right? I just didn't give a shit. I figured everything's fucked, my government's stupid, and whatever. So I'm learning new things every day, and I feel really dumb sometimes compared to what Markus knows about foreign policy or this, that, and the other, or what's been going on with this person and the other. People have been reporting. It's waves of knowledge. right? Because there are people that still don't know this information. It's just the way it goes. You have to keep repeating the message, right? Okay, that was heavy shit. Now we're going to talk about some happy shit, some ground game happy shit. I just had to get that out of the way, though. This is another example of a winning victory, and it's all ground game here. All right. This is a guy in Philly who ran and won. He's a progressive, right? And what the article points out here that I am trying to point out is that I'm doing a poor job of it, is that they ran against an establishment candidate. They built a grassroots progressive movement, and this Democrat progressive won in Philly, in a big place, in a position of power. That's what's important here, is that we're like a chessboard. We're moving pieces, progressive pieces, into positions of power in our local and state governments, and we're doing that as fast as we can. And we're seeing progressives at state level directly battle non-progressives. Case in point is the governor of North Carolina, who's a Democrat, who said that he is going to write an executive order very soon to protect LGBTQ rights, regardless of the bullshit Republican discriminatory bill that was just passed, that was supposedly a fucking compromise. The governor said, I don't believe we should have any kind of a compromise with them. But in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish, fighting what we're fighting, I had to compromise on that bill. Then I'm going to write an executive order to override some bullshit. And then we're going to work on new legislation that'll overturn this bill in 2020. That's the long-term strategy of a revolution. And I just want to point that out, that there are times when we think, why did that person do that? They capitulated, or, and it's like, no, they agreed to lose that battle to take a strategic, because they realized that it would be better to be won here, right? Or over here, or this way. And so I'm saying this to all you guys because we need to stop looking at granular incidents and start applying them to an overall strategic level of our revolution, right? And then maybe we won't get so depressed about things. When you're like, okay, that happened, but let's look at the bigger picture here. What's going on? Right, Marcus? Marcus is nodding.
Exactly right. Yes, we don't have to lose our target. We got to know what we stand for, what we fight for, and yes, all other things are only distractions. Some may be funny, some may be bad, but they are only distractions. We got to keep concentrated on the real issues.
Yep. That's it's hard to do. And isn't that what there's a meme? Did you watch any of the debate? How many of you watched the debate? Did you?
No chance yet. No? I got to do it later.
All right. I've watched any of it, but I've seen you like that, Greg McKenzie? Hey, Greg, how you doing, man? Good to see you. The memes coming out from the debate last night, and I guess both of them were asked if they're going to run in 2020, right? I didn't hear Bernie's direct response. I'm just looking at what the meme was. Basically, Kasich said, he said, only God knows, bullshit, Republican response. Only God knows if I'll run again. God doesn't exist. Anyway, Bernie's response was, I'm focused on the issues. Right? Which, it's not about whether I'm campaigning. It's not, that's years away. I'm not starting. I'm focused on, we've got 10 years left, maybe. Climate change, bad. Right? Trump in office, bad. Phone, bad. I usually have that turned down. But what happens is I forget to turn it back up, and then I miss a whole bunch of calls from people I actually want to talk to. But they never called during the show. That's just the way it is. Anyway.
There's only one guy calling you during the show, yes.
Yes, there is. Maybe two or three, actually. Anyway. He punched them right in the faces. We talking about Bernie? Yes. Stick to the issues. Exactly. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch it. Where's that meme? I'll show you guys that meme. I don't want to, again, regardless of the impeachment, it's obvious that if the Republicans stick with Trump, if the Republicans continue to try to prop up the clown car, the Republicans will have nothing in 2018 and nothing in 2020. And I did think I saw another quote where Kasich was saying we need to have another Republican run against Trump in 2020, which is something I said exactly what they would plan to do. They would just separate themselves from him to try to save their party and put some shining knight that looks better, or a woman or whatever that looks better than Trump, which isn't hard to do, right? You could put a potato or a fucking any animal. You could use all sorts of things to win an election against Trump. Maybe not competing against a Bernie Sanders or the progressive side, but certainly on the Republican side of things, you could defeat Trump with an inanimate object in the primaries, I think. I don't know. But here's the White House right now. I love this meme. That's spicy.
Yeah.
Poor Spicy. Apparently they turned up Fox News in whatever press room they have at the White House, wherever those people hang out. Could you imagine being in there? Yeah. God, that would be scary. I'd be frightened to be in there right now. Although I'd want to be in there and be recording everything because I'm sure there's all sorts of good sound bites coming out. Apparently the aides had to turn up the TVs the other day because there was screaming coming from Trump, Bannon, Priebus, and whoever else was in that argument over, whoops, we can't be screwing ourselves here. Stick together, everybody. Money, 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 greed. Right? See, Trump was never part of that money greed. He had his own thing, right? He had his own money greed. The GOP was their money greed. They've not found a marriage yet. That's the problem. That's really the problem. Yes, yeah. Spicy. Is going to be sitting in a massive pile of cash? Who's going to be sitting in a massive pile of cash? Bye, Judy. Seth Rich. Oh, that was another thing. I forgot to tell you about that. I forgot to tell you about the whole vetting of shows. I didn't do a really good job talking about why I was even talking about what I do and what I stand for and why I'm going into that. And it had to do with, we're going to have Sam Ronan on, but it had to do with Nick Branna, all right, who's the guy who has Draft Bernie. And we'd reached out to Nick, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, really for Chad Talks With, because somebody had said, hey, do you want to talk with Nick? And we were like, whatever, all right, let's see him talk with, the Draft Bernie talk with Dem Enter Chad and see what they have to say. And then Chad had to stop doing shows for a while, and we lost contact with Branna's people. I guess he's got a publisher. Anyway, I forgot. The other thing that they said was that I haven't talked about Seth Rich. Like, that was the whole thing. The stream was like, well, I'm not here to get ratings, right? I'm not. And I remember talking. Laura said in her response that I talked about it a long time ago when that first shit came out. It was like I don't like talking about things that we've got no control over, really. It's like the information's out there and it's good to know, but I'm not gonna focus on it or harbor on it because it's not helping us move forward, right? That's I forgot about that part.
The issues, the agenda.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I just wanted to go on that. Next thing we're going to look at is Glenn Greenwald. This I talked about this before, and the reason I'm talking a lot about Glenn Greenwald is because I use a lot of the Intercept's content, but I rarely reference the journalist. I'm really bad about that. And oftentimes it's Glenn Greenwald, right? Either he's on Democracy Now! Talking about something, but he's one of the few independent guys that's out there that really can be on MSM. He's just a high quality standard journalist, and that's what makes him so great, right? So, but this is really cool. You guys know that I'm like a total animal insanity. You know, I try to take care of all the things that my cats mess up that they bring to me in the yard. And you know, we had Bernie Bird, and I still have a mouse living in my grow room. And this is the cool. We're just going to run this. There's a link to this GoFundMe. If you guys can help donate to this, please do. As soon as I get paid by you guys, when the next Patreon thing kicks over, I'm going to drop a little money this way. This is just a really, really great, cool idea. It makes so much sense. And anytime I see, you know, stray dogs, cats, I would, well, he owns a lot of cats, a lot of dogs. They have a lot of animals. He lives in Rio. Really cool. I'm just going to play the GoFundMe video. Again, click on the link and help him out if we can. I thought this was a really brilliant, no-brainer idea.
It is.
We started realizing that if we could tap into this power, this incomparable love that forms this mutual needing between homeless people and abandoned animals, we could build something really powerful and really beautiful. And that's how we got the idea for this shelter.
E a gente precisa se organizar para poder fazer isso, porque não está dando para deixar na mão do Estado, do município, para cuidar desses animais. Lembrando sempre que cuidar de animal é um fator de saúde pública. Então, se você cuida de um animal, você pode tratar toda uma sociedade. E ao mesmo tempo, com essa grande crise que a gente está sofrendo aqui no Brasil, as pessoas estão perdendo seus trabalhos e estão acabando parando na rua. E os governos não estão tendo assistência para esses tipos de pessoas que estão em situação de rua.
Now we've hired our first employee, who is going to be the manager of the entire project, who is one half of the couple, the same-sex couple, who we profiled about 6 months ago, who adopted 3 boys at once.
Mas o que é que você faz aqui em casa?
Aqui eu sou pai de 3 meninos. A intenção não é que os animais fiquem parados, e sim que eles passem por ali, é poder resgatar tanto os animais e recolocá-los, quanto resgatar essas pessoas, dando uma chance, dando, digamos, uma ferramenta, uma oportunidade para essas pessoas também mudarem de vida.
And now we've hired our first person who's homeless as well. His name is Lucas. He's 20 years old.
Eu vivi aqui, dormi aqui na rua aqui, e a pessoa que mora na rua, a pessoa é bastante humilhada pelo aquilo, né? Muitos estão por necessidade também, porque não teve amparo. Uma das coisas que mudou bastante minha vida, não moro mais na rua, tenho o meu cachorro, uma casa, uma cama, uma comida decente. Poxa, você tomar um banho, você passar em um lugar e você ser tratado como gente.
So now Lucas is working with Francisco, and we have this great volunteer, Helena, who has worked with animal shelters and organizations around the city, who's now working with us as well.
Hoje, a proteção animal no Rio de Janeiro e no Brasil, né, ela é totalmente dependente do apoio de todos nós, né, como cidadãos, porque não existe poder público efetivo tratando disso.
And that's the heart and soul of the shelter that we're building. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, and so we're hoping that it becomes a model for how other places that need to both help their homeless population and their animal population.
Então, por isso que a necessidade muito grande do público, de você que está assistindo, de ajudar nesse projeto, porque agora é a nossa vez de botar a mão na massa e ajudar os animais que estão na rua e as pessoas que estão em situação de rua.
I think that's pretty awesome, and yeah, I want to address a couple things. So, Jilly Love, just to clarify what I was talking about, my choice to decide to cover Seth Rich today or not, and to cover Chelsea Manning as a story or not is just my choice or prerogative. I wasn't really, that wasn't really my point. My point was that vetting me or my channel or the show based on whether I decide to do that or not is petty and granular and silly. That was my point. You can call me out or whatnot for choosing to focus on Chelsea Manning and not a lot on Seth Rich. Whatever. That's fine. Okay. That wasn't my point. My point was that using it as a basis for whether you want to be on my interview show or not. We want to talk about unity in the issues. You don't. Maybe this will really piss off a lot of people. Seth Rich isn't the issue. Seth Rich is a symptom. Or a casualty of a symptom. How about that? All right, now, the other thing I want to talk about was Phil. You had an interesting statement about go pet free, reduce your carbon imprint. Jilly Love, you said maybe you should take a pet, blah, blah, blah. I agree with, if we didn't have any pets that needed homes, don't take a pet. Don't go buy another one. Don't breed some, sure. While we have animals all over the world that need homes, the concept of reduce your carbon footprint really means be an asshole, don't help a pet that's already out there. The carbon footprint's going to exist whether that pet lives with you or not. So I find no logic in your statement. Anyway, Marcus, thoughts, feelings?
Yes, and there's an old saying that society can be considered by the way they treat their weakest creatures.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and we're horrible at that. We lose there. Wow. Don't we? We're a pretty terrible society in that case, Marcus.
Germany is not much different in this. If you see that it is permitted by law that the little chicken are getting into machines where there are I don't know the English expression right now. They're cut in these boxes just when they get off the egg, and because they are male, and
right.
It is. Yes, and it was. I think it was beginning of this year. It was confirmed that this practice is okay for Germany.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep. All right. Well, pick the most strategic issues. That's an interesting way to say it, Greg. What would be the most strategic issue? I'm going to go with climate. That's for me. I don't know anybody else. I don't know how it could not be the most strategic. I mean, maybe. So, actually, let me reverse my statement. On a local level, the issue that I might want to pick is going to be something different. Who knows? Maybe on a local level, climate-wise, we're doing okay. I don't know that. On a national level, of course, we're not. But I'm not working on a national level. Right? On my local level, I don't have to worry about fracking right now. And I don't have to worry about a lot of fossil fuel industry out here because I live in Oregon. Somebody in Pennsylvania, that might be their strategic issue, right? Climate change. And so that's a good point, Greg McKenzie, that pick the most strategic issue for you in your hometown that's going to affect you the most directly now. Is it out of control police? Is justice reform? Is it corruption in your local city politics or money in your local city politics? That's really, when we look at it, we're fixing a big goddamn machine. And each one of us has little parts to fix and little places to fix, and we all have our own toolbox, and we're all working with a different crew. In Albany, in Lynn County, what I have to fix first, it seems to me, is to get Democrats to actually vote. Because we have shit for voter turnout. And in order to do that, I know that I need to help my Democratic Party provide more information and get out there and communicate with the voters. So maybe that's what I focus on is communication, building progressive values in general. I don't have to say it's part of the Democratic Party. I'm working for progressive values, right? But, somewhere else, be totally different. I like that. And that's how we work together. That's how the unity will end up being there, right? I don't know, I like that. Good thought. Here's, all right, a couple of environmental things. So this is interesting. I don't know where this goes, but EPA's approval of bee-killing pesticides violated federal law, according to a judge. And you know, we're talking about the same pesticides that most other nations know are bad, neonicotinoids, which really fuck our bees. 47% of bee population has been wiped out. We've got mass colony deaths. They know why the colony deaths are happening. It's neonicotinoids. I mean, we are. I don't know why we think we can flirt with death so much. Our food supplies are dying. Bees are essential to life on this planet. And we're focused on Trump. We're focused on which group we should be involved with or not be involved with. We're focused on them enter or exit. I don't want to live. Does that judge and the violation and the acknowledge of that do anything? That's my question. Even in a judiciary system where we say, you're wrong, EPA, you shouldn't do that. What do they get fined? That doesn't replace bees. Doesn't really matter, right? Trump's EPA greenlights a nasty chemical, and a month later it poisons a bunch of farm workers. This has been going around. Anybody that was exposed, we encourage them to seek medical attention immediately. A California public health official said, this is when, I mean, you've got a corporation controlling a government that is saying, my poison will be allowed on your farm, right? Yes, it will. And if it poisons people, oh well. And the only reason that this is now being stopped in California is because people are getting really sick. I don't know if anybody's died yet, but there is a purpose for the EPA. It hasn't really served its purpose in decades, but there is a purpose for it. Do not use Roundup, and with your pet flea treatments, you generally don't want to use, I don't use anything that's really chemical based for the most part. Although there's a new one out there. It's halfway decent. Roundup's terrible, guys. Roundup causes cancer. Roundup causes cancer. And we live in the only stupid country in the world that would let one state say yes, it causes cancer, and the rest of them say no. That makes no sense. That should be a federal regulation. This is poison. You don't get to use it. But we can't control the Fed yet. Not yet. Not yet. There's an article link in there. Films for Action. There's an article link to, this is an article from 2015, but it's got photos in it that are just, if you look at this, the reason I put this in here is because of the pictures. This is Monsanto poisoning Argentina. There's one person right there, little girl. Here's a farmer. That's not some photoshopped crazy shit. That's that farmer's body from the poisons that he was exposed to. And they got lawsuits going on and all sorts of stuff. But we poison the world. We poison the world, these corporations. The only way we stop them is by working locally to remove their stronghold on our local governments and moving the way up. Even in statewide Oregon government, I know there is corruption, right? It's just we've managed to keep it down because Oregon happens to be a progressive state. California just took over a whole bunch of progressive seats because California really is establishment money Democrat controlled, not progressive values controlled. But they're changing that. Washington, I don't really know where Washington sits, you know, in terms of it seems progressive, and they're moving through with a lot of progressive things, but they have an awful lot of rural area, right? So they're kind of like Oregon. It's very interesting. Salt and vinegar is a good substitute. Vinegar takes care of here's learning about nature. I know we're at 11:56, but I just growing up, I saw so many people spend so much time on getting dandelions out of their yards. I don't know if they do this in Germany, Marcus. They give a shit about dandelions or not. Weeds in your yard. Do you even care about that? You guys don't even care about like having the green grass yard, do you? It's not even a thing over there.
Oh, don't underestimate the Germans. We are passionate gardeners here, and yes, and it's a cliche from former times that the garden in front of the house has to be accurately be presented, and everything nice, everything fine, and it changed over the years, of course. But I think yes, there are conservative people are tending more to go after the weed where it doesn't belong than others, to say it like this.
Right. Exactly. Go after the weeds, right? and the whole 50s concept of the beautiful American suburb where your concrete was pretty and your street was pretty and your grass was defined and your clear concrete lines and there were no leaves on the ground and there was no dust anywhere and there were no bugs and there were no dandelions. It was just a perfect picture of plastic Lego homes, right?
Yeah.
That idea has continued to be perpetuated. When I was growing up, I remember that my neighbor, Dan Taylor, he had the best lawnmower and he had this beautiful green grass and he hated us because we didn't spend a lot of time on our grass and it was dead often and was full of dandelions and we didn't give a fuck growing up, right? And, I remember when I first owned a home and I thought it was important, this is way back in the early 2000s, it was important to keep my grass green and looking that way, and I hired a landscape service in California to come out and make it look pretty and spray everything with chemicals and shit, and I had a sterile, lovely yard that really was sterile. I hated it. Today, I've learned that not only are dandelions edible, good in salad, but you just chop them up and leave them underneath trees, and they provide a lot of really good nutrients, especially when you live on an orchard. So if you want to provide good nutrients for your trees, chop up your dandelions in your yard and stick them underneath them for mulch as nutrient source. That's the kind of knowledge and understanding. It's like instead of fighting nature, why not find out how amazing it is and work with it? That's why it's there. We aren't made of plastic, It's an amazing thing. And I blew my dandelion seeds. Oh, there was always a wind coming through blowing the seeds everywhere. Mr. Taylor hated that. We couldn't even run on his lawn either. My sister used to do gymnastics, and she would tumble from our lawn. There was no fence in the front yard. She would tumble from our lawn into his, and he would get all mad if she even left, like, footprints. It's really psycho. What the hell's your fucking grass for, dude? And he'd mow it one way one week, and then the next week this way, even if it didn't need to be mowed, so that he had that diamond line in there. I mean, yeah, we're talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I know who you mean.
He was a lawn Nazi. And I mean that term in the old sense of Nazi before it became really wrong to even use the word Nazi as we watch American Nazis. So, I'm going to have to come up with something different to say. I can't say that anymore. It's not funny. It's not funny. Anyway, that's the end of the show, guys. Jeez. You picked the song, Marcus. And it's Marcus picked the song.
So guys, you can see now. John Ellis is no hip hopper. He doesn't like rap music.
Now. John Ellis understood rap music and thought it was okay with Aerosmith and Run DMC when that came out because that was appropriate for white suburban rap people. The kind of stuff I remember Public Enemy, which is who you reference here. We're hoping this will play, but what do you remember about these guys? You saw them, didn't you?
Well, I watched them live. In the beginning of the 90s, end of the 80s, I liked the hip hop coming from America, and I liked the East Coast sound, the West Coast sound, and Public Enemy was one of my favorite bands at that time. And because they had in my opinion, a good and clear political message, and it was not only about violence and taking drugs and screwing around. It was a clear political message, and I liked them for this. And when they came on tour in Germany, or it was a European tour, I think, they came together with Anthrax. It was the Bring the Noise song they had out, and it was performed together with Anthrax. And you got to see, we had in this big hall where they were playing, they were gathered rockers from all over Germany and hip hop fans from all over Germany or from the abroad even. And yes, and it was a big giant party, and there was no animosity between those groups. And yes, and it was fun. It was a real fun night. And Public Enemy was excellent. You know, I'm not that much into metal, but I like Anthrax as well. And yeah, and they brought a great show. And yeah, so I decided to pick a hip-hop, a rap song for today's show, because I guess we never had one before. And, it is
the closest
another
we've
reason.
had is Killer Mike. That's the closest we've had is
yes,
Reagan,
Killer Mike, yes.
right?
Yes,
So,
yeah, you're right.
Does that count? Does that count?
Yeah, Killer Mike is incredible. Yes, of course it counts.
Run the Jewels counts as hips and hops, right? Was that the good hip hops? I got that as the one. Yeah. I'm down with it. Are you down with it, Marcus? I can be down with it. Yes.
Are you mocking me, John?
I am okay with being down. Are you down? All right. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna listen to this song. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Marcus, for setting up the tune. Join us tonight.
Thank you.
Right?
And guys, tomorrow I won't be around, unfortunately, because of a technical differences I will solve tomorrow. I'll try to manage to be around. I cannot promise it, but anyway, I'll be back on Friday. Yes.
There you go. Thank you, Marcus.
Have a great day. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And don't forget, tonight, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we are interviewing Stephen Jaffe, candidate for California's District 12, going against Nancy Pelosi, and we're looking forward to that. Join us for that, We the People, tonight. Thank you. Next week, the 24th, Sam Ronan, our voice. Here we go. Public Enemy. Get up, stand up.
The DJ quit. This song don't give a damn. You can't sing or dance to it, can't romance to it. This song ain't arrogant. If you don't try it, buy it. Or if your radio denies it. Don't care about who got what's cool on TV or what spots hot, I forgot. I ain't mad at evolution, but I stand for revolution. Get up. Enough is enough. Hey, somebody stand up. Come on. Get up. Stand up. Get up. Stand up. Get up. Stand up. Get up. Stand up.
This track ain't asking you a damn thing. Not the brand name, bottle with your champagne. Not where you land your private airplane. How many blood diamonds shining in that chain? How much compromise is tied to that fame? How many more times we gotta hear that lame line? I'm inspiring them to do what? Roll better weed and get higher than them. Feed the needy, greedy, aspiring them. Be the same damn dog with the finer women. They gon' tell me that I'm preaching to the choir in them. Showed it right, but I'm trying to light a fire in them. Cause I was raised by the enemy. And ever since then, that's been my identity. So I'm trying to give back what was given me. Truthful delivery is my tendency. Youthful, the spirit up in my energy. Bottom of my feet is something that you'll never see. That's cause I'm standing, singing the anthem. Fist on my hand, and the list of demands. When they hear this, might piss in their pants. Try to get the children not to listen to the man. But the mighty PE is what birthed Ali. So what you think gon' come after me? Just shoot.
Occupy if you deny. Post this song cause I see wrong. Most of my heroes still don't appear on no stamp. So I ran, even when they see I can. I rise against, rage against. Hope I don't end up being the same thing I'm fighting fighting against. Hence, I went, I'm never on the fence since they think the masses are powerless. I ain't on nobody's powerless. I ball my fist with my audience like this. I raise my fist with my audience. Yeah, like this. Get up. Stand up. Get up. Stand up. Got so much to shout about. What the 1% is getting out. Recession, depression, desperation do. Never have so many been screwed by so few. Cheapest prices to pay attention. No need to dumb down